Hi, Jacob from Toddle. We had a question in our Discord from let's see if I can pronounce this, Jill Hermy Hirsch, I think. He asks, what is the difference between a web component and an iframe? So I have my little test project I set up over here. We have the same component exported as a web component and over here as an iframe. In my code, you can see this is just a HTML document that I'm hosting locally. We have our iframe down here, and we have our web component up here. In our iframe example, you can see we're not really doing a whole lot with it because we can't really do a whole lot with it. An iframe is just it has a source, so it's just kind of a window into your into another page. So we're just saying this page, we want to show that in a frame on our own page. This comes with some overhead because you actually have to load an entire new page in and then load everything on it, and then you show it in a window here. This also means that it doesn't really know exactly what to show. So here I have to set up some styling with the width and height, and if I remove this, you can see that now we get this scroll bar. We have to scroll manually. So you have to set up a few things for it to work. But overall, it's pretty simple, and it's really good for the use case of showing one web page inside another web page. This is what it was created for, and it's still quite good at that. However, if you want to do something, export something that's a bit more like a component, so something that you want to be able to interact with. If, for example, if you want to click a button and you want something to happen outside of it, and you want something outside to change what's happening inside, then web components are really good. You can do something a little bit similar with iframes. You can, I think, emit some events and then pick them up, and you can update the URL based on something, but it's really cumbersome, and it's not really meant for that. It's meant more for showing entire pages inside other pages. So just to show some of these things that a web component can do, we have, for example, here we have, first of all, we can style it, of course. So that will be the container, and we can also update CSS variables. So in toddle that this is exported from, you have your theme, which has some CSS variable. So in this example, we have set the gray 200 to be white. So this heading here is more white than the one you see here, but I can also change this to Becca purple, for example. If I update this, now you can see now this updated to a color. So that means when you export these components, you can decide which variables do I want people to be able to update. Maybe there's something you don't want people to change, and maybe there are some things that you would like them to be able to change. So I also changed the font here, for example. I changed the font, so now I'm using a different font than over here. And then we have our attributes. So attributes in toddle is something you use to pass information from one parent down to a child component. But you get these automatically when you export them, so you can actually update here. So if I say, this is my heading, you can see now the title over here updates. And the same with the text, you can also change the text and it will update down here. Then we have slots, which is one of the really powerful features about web components that are pretty much impossible to replicate in iframes. So slots, if you haven't used them in toddle, it's a way to say, I want to create a component, and in this component I would like you to be able to update something inside of it. So in a card component, it makes a lot of sense that maybe you want to be able to say, okay, maybe you want to change this image up here. Maybe you want to insert an icon instead or anything. You could do that with slots. So in my example here, I actually inserted a slot. In toddle, I called this slot around the image here. I called it image. And then just by doing this slot image, I can insert anything into it. So in my case, I inserted a div with another toddle exported web component inside. So this is from another project. Someone, I think Casper, he created this weather widget, and then I can actually use this. So let me just save this, and you can see that now all of a sudden, instead of this image, we actually have a component. So it's a component, a web component with a div inside with another web component. You can actually insert anything here. This is native web technology, so you could insert a React component here or anything really. I think the last things I will just quickly go through is events. So events, again, they in toddle I've set up this event called call to action. I set this up on my component, and then whenever I click this button, I bound that to call this event. So from the outside, I can actually listen to this event, and then when I listen to them, I can update. I actually update the attribute dynamically, so on the page. So if I click this button, you can see that now it says you click me 1 times, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. So it's really easy to interact with this, both from API level, but also with the component itself. So I think this is one of the things that's really great about toddle, is that when you learn toddle, you actually learn these modern cutting-edge web technologies, because web components is a web technology, and toddle really leans very close to that. There's almost a one-to-one. So this is really great for creating, for example, entire UI libraries. You could create a button in this, and you can create a card component that you can then insert your button into, and you can have components inside components like this, widget inside a card. You can do a lot of things, and the overhead is very small when you're using web component. You can see if I update this, you can see that it actually loads immediately, while the iframe has to think for a while. Because again, it's an entire document has to load, and then inside that it has to reload things, and there's some caching issues, and it depends a lot on the browser implementation. It can be quite expensive, especially on mobile devices. But web components, you can almost see those as just another component, just like you have a H2 or a div. This UI card is now a component you can use anywhere on your site. So yeah, that's really cool. I hope this explains some of the differences. I will probably do a follow-up video with something more technical. But hopefully this helps. Well, thank you very much.